Greetings programs, this is Stranger Eggs Part 4 and it is jam-packed with all sorts of really awesome references and Easter eggs from Season 4. We're going to be doing stuff for Season 5, but right now this is all about Season 4. Let's go. Easter eggs right now. So, in episode 1, when Brenner is looking at his newspaper in 1979, he's doing a crossword, and there's a whole bunch of words that get dropped in the crossword if you didn't realize. Now, my wife and I, we studied this crossword for a while before we had to step back and be like, okay, let's just move on. But there's all sorts of words in there like Kali, Shiva, epitology, something like that. But there's all sorts of really hidden hints within that crossword, and also a very interesting side as well. As there are two conflicting star signs with on the right of the page. It shows you some star sign like predictions, and there's usage of words like clever thoughts, fantastic ideas, ingenious plans, and a lot of the horoscopes are kind of contradicting to each other. So very cool way to make you kind of question what's going on, and it's a very prominent scene because it zooms in on the crossword. We went crazy for it. So now, if you've watched any of my first 3 episodes, which you can find right up here, that's part 1, part 2, and 3, breaking down all the references and Easter eggs, I'm sure you've realized now that there's a massive amount of pop culture references within the whole entire franchise. And Ghostbusters is a big one that came in Season 3 specifically. Now, when Brenner is giving his test to 10 in the laboratory, and it's almost very reminiscent of when Vecna is giving his college students the flash test, from the inkblot test. It's not as cruel as the one Brenner gives 10, but it's very reminiscent of the Ghostbusters scene. So very cool from the Duffer Brothers there. Who is your favorite character in Stranger Things? I know it's an impossible question to answer, but mine is Eddie. I absolutely love Eddie as a character. I have this argument with my wife where she says he's not a main character, he's a supporting character. I don't believe that. I believe that Eddie is a main character. He plays such a pivotal role in Season 4, the leader of the Hellfire Club, an amazing dungeon master, and just such a character. And, he's obviously in a band. And there's so many cool things about Eddie that make him the character that he is, aside from the Hellfire Club, which he formed. On his jacket, he's got all these pins for these bands like the Wasp, Motorhead. He's got a Dio backpack. He's got such cool memorabilia and pop culture references all over him, which is what makes him so cool and such an amazing character. I think the Duffer Brothers had a lot of fun, messing around with different kind of references within the whole saga because they are ingeniously put into the whole franchise. And the Hellfire Club is probably the most, historically significant within Stranger Things because it comes from the X-Men comics. And there is actually a recent run of X-Men that I have got. It's X-Men Immortal. And the first couple pages is all about the Hellfire Club, which is an elite society of mutants, some of the most powerful mutants of all time. And it's just such an awesome way to kind of reference the crew in Stranger Things. Eddie being at the helm, and 11 mirroring that character of Jean Grey. So it's very clever, and it's a fun way to portray the characters as, people from the comics or mutants from the comics. It's so epic. Again, I don't know how many times I've said this, but there's so many references to movies, and E.T. is a big one, guys. Steven Spielberg is a big influence on them. And, there's a phone booth at Hawkins High, and someone has scribbled graffiti into the phone booth that says E.T. in the background. When Dustin picks up the phone, as you can see E.T. graffitied into the phone booth, which is so cool. These little nods to these shows that play such a massive role in Stranger Things that we barely notice, and then when you watch it again, you're like, oh, look, and then all these things pop up. It's absolutely ingenious, man. I think something that Stranger Things has done really well is just really great character development. They don't rush things. They also make it very intriguing and very mysterious to really hook you into every single character in the show, because every single character has a very specific arc and a very specific development that really connects you to all of their characters. And in season 4, in episode 1, Elle makes a diorama of her house with Hopper, and she obviously does a play, and it goes terribly wrong. But if you didn't notice, Will is also doing an oral presentation, and his is of Alan Turing. Now, if you didn't know who Alan Turing was, he is the godfather, in fact, the father of the very first computer. Alan Turing was a literal genius who used a series of computer mechanisms to crack the Enigma code in World War II. The Enigma code was a Nazi code that was changed every day, and he used computers to crack this code. Now, Alan Turing was famously a homosexual, but unfortunately, the government did not like this and chemically castrated him. And then he later killed himself, which is an awful, awful tragedy because he was an absolute genius and the godfather of computing. So it's an awesome subtle way to tell us that Will is gay, and it's he's struggling with this decision. He's struggling with what's going on in his brain and how he has to deal with this. So it's a really subtle way to show the struggle of what it must have been like to be gay back in the 80s. So it's an amazing way to do that for a character. Again, Dustin has mastered the art of referencing Star Wars. When they are in the D&D campaign and he's trying to vanquish Vecna in the campaign and rolls a perfect 20, he quotes directly from Star Wars and Han Solo saying, "Never tell me the odds," when he screams it at his Hellfire members. It's quintessential Stranger Things, baby. Carrie is one hell of a movie. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but it is a really, really good old school movie about a young girl who gets bullied at school, and then she releases these dormant telekinetic powers and all hell breaks loose. Now, at the roller rink scene, when Elle is getting bullied by the mean girls, it's very much reminiscent of Carrie, which, she's getting bullied, she gets milkshakes thrown on her, everyone's trying to film her and humiliate her, and Elle doesn't quite have her powers here, so she's trying to reignite these dormant powers of her. So it's very much a reference to the old school Carrie movie, which, okay, it doesn't end as badly as Carrie, because I don't know, is Elle a bad guy? Is Elle a good guy? Chaotic good, chaotic evil? We juggle between these, but this is very much a reference to Carrie, the old school classic. And of 3,000 years ago, with things called double VHS tapes. If you don't know what that is, man, oh man, when Robin wants Steve to watch Dr. Zhivago, and Steve stuns her with a double VHS, which is absolutely crazy because most standard VHS players, you could only just play one side. With double VHS, you had to swap the side over and then play another side of the tape, which Steve didn't want to do. Yes, those kinds of things existed, people, before days of the internet. Okay, back in the day when I was 3,000 years old, okay? So many references, my God. In the afterglow of their basketball victory, when the team awakens to hear about the murder, one of the team members says, "We need to watch the Thundercats, because Thundercats is coming on soon." If you don't know what the Thundercats is, my God, where have you been? They don't make shows like this anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So something very cool from it's episode 4, where we see Billy Hargrove's grave, which is obviously Max's brother. And interestingly enough, his full name reads on the gravestone William Hargroves. And when Max sees him in the actual footage, it's Billy Hargroves. In the trailer, it was William Hargroves, which lends us to believe that there was a dream sequence here. So which one is real and which one isn't? It's a clever way that the Duffer Brothers can throw us off the scent, right? And make us question what's really going on. So it's absolutely, I didn't notice it. And I went back and watched the trailer and then watched the scenes again. And now are 2 different gravestones, which is just an incredible way that the Duffer Brothers have ingeniously thought about the story from beginning to end. Now, I'm sure you've all gathered that music is a massive part of Stranger Things. There's many face-melting riffs and really awesome tracks that we get throughout the whole saga. And in the mental hospital, there are some tracks that are listed in the background on the chalkboard that are used for musical therapy. And I'm just going to read out some of the names of these chalkboards, and let me tell you, can decide if these are, hints of what's happening. All right. I'll see you in my dreams. Okay. Another one is wrap your troubles in dreams. All right. There is one by Glenn Miller called Moonlight Serenade, which wouldn't immediately kind of fit the mold as we thinking about here, but you realize that the original title of that song was called Now I Lay Me Down to Weep, which is far more sinister. So it's just an incredible way to subtly suggest that music not only plays a massive role in Stranger Things, but that dreams play a major role, especially at a mental hospital where they are trying to seek answers about a demon that attacks people in their dreams. Now, shout out to my main boy, Eddie Munson, okay, who has probably one of the coolest scenes in the Stranger Things franchise when he plays the face-melting riff of Master of Puppets on top of the caravan to attract the demo bats. Now, Eddie famously loved Ozzy Osbourne and referred to himself as Ozzy Osbourne a lot of the time. Steve didn't really get those references, but if you didn't know, back in the day, Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath were performing in Iowa, and a fan threw a bat on stage, which Ozzy Osbourne promptly bit the head off of. Okay, now they said the bat was alive, but the bat was actually dead. But Ozzy did in fact bite the head off a bat live on stage at a concert. He was prominently rushed to hospital for rabies shots, but he still did that, okay? And it is an awesome montage to not only Black Sabbath, but to Eddie Munson's amazing tribute to Metallica, to Ozzy Osbourne, and to how awesome of a character he was in Season 4. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like. It would be really amazing of you. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that has watched the videos. They have been overwhelmingly positive, and I am supremely appreciative of everyone that has watched these videos. So thank you very much. And please subscribe and like if you're enjoying these videos. Now, Vecna's house is pretty terrifying. We all have that one house that we've been to in the area that we live in that's a little creepy, right? There's always that one house. Now, the team did a really amazing job. The real life Creel house is in Rome, Georgia, next to the Berry College, okay? And it's a real place. It's a real house that they found that is really frightening. It was kind of abandoned at the time, and the team found this house that looked very much like Norman Bates' house from Psycho. And it's such a great way that I think one of the production designers, Chris Trujillo, I can't really pronounce his name, they found this house and were like, this is perfect for Vecna's house. So Vecna's house is a real place in Georgia that you can go and visit and stay in. Not that I'd probably want to do that, but it is a real place. If you don't know who Freddy Krueger is, now is the time to find out, alright? Because Vecna is very much inspired by Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street, when I first watched it was when I was a kid. I was much younger than my brothers and sisters. So I got subjected to it when I was very young, and let me tell you, I could not sleep for weeks after watching that film, because it is literally about a demonic entity or a man who died that invades children's dreams and kills them while they're sleeping. And as a little kid, trust me, you will never sleep for a while, because even his song that plays in the background is absolutely terrifying. It's 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, 3, 4, better lock your door, 5, 6, get your crucifix, 7, 8, stay up late, 9, 10, never sleep again. Are you kidding me? You're a 10-year-old watching this, you're gonna sleep again? So Robin and Nancy travel to Penthurst Mental Hospital, which was referenced in Season 1, and continuity is key here. You know, Season 4 references Season 1, Season 2 references Season 3, and it's all just interconnected, which is why this story is so good. And when they go and visit Victor Creel at Penthurst Hospital, Penthurst Hospital Mental Hospital is a real place, and it is apparently haunted. And there have been many supernatural paranormal hunters that have gone to stay at this hospital to study its paranormal activities. So quite frightening, and what a better place to pick a mental hospital, my God. So the ongoing homage for all horror classics in Season 4 culminates with the casting of Robert Englund. Okay, this man played Freddy Krueger on Nightmare on Elm Street, who is none other than Victor Creel, who is Vecna's father. An insane casting, an insane way to pay homage to the 80s classics. It's so brilliant by the Duffer Brothers. I cannot speak enough about how cleverly and subtly they have put all of these little hints within the show to really make us think about everything that's going on within Stranger Things. So amazing. That's it for Stranger Eggs Part 4, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you have made it this far, again, thank you so much. Please subscribe and like. It'd be awesome. I am also going to be doing a Stranger Things 5 thoughts, reviews, and what we're going to do. It's going to be very spoiler heavy. But there are going to be questions that I have and will pose to you that I think we all need to ask ourselves before we see the final 4 episodes. Very excited. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That's Stranger Eggs Part 4. Love and peace.